Welcome to our animated breakdown series of House of the Dragon Season 3. In our first episode, we uncovered the truth about Daeron Targaryen. In our second, we looked at Ormund Hightower's grand conspiracy. Today, we are diving into episode 5, Unbowed and Unbent. And trust me, this is where the war changes forever. No dragons, no massive battles, just psychological warfare, political manipulation, and two queens trapped in the dark under the Red Keep. So grab your dragon glass, settle in, and let's begin. The episode opens with Alicent and Helaena trapped in one of the Red Keep's hidden passages. The Queen Dowager discovered a secret door connected to Rhaenyra's old bedroom, part of the maze built by Maegor the Cruel centuries ago. Helaena initially refuses to enter the tunnels because they remind her of the men who murdered her son, Jaehaerys. She eventually follows Alicent, but their escape soon goes wrong. The narrow passage leads them deeper into the castle's hidden structure, where they become trapped without light or a clear route back. Helaena drops their only torch when a rat frightens her, and the blocked path suggests someone deliberately closed this escape route. Their situation reflects how far both women have fallen. Once they influenced kings, now they are buried inside the walls of the same political system that once protected them. Meanwhile, in the Riverlands, Oscar Tully's army of Riverlords and Winter Wolves prepares to march on Tumbleton. But Criston Cole and Gwaine Hightower have other plans. They've burned the bridge that would allow the army to cross the river. Cole has embraced a dark strategy of guerrilla warfare. Under the cover of night, his men raid the Black Camp, laying caltrops in the brush that maim horses and men. Cole refuses to retreat, even as his forces dwindle and Gwaine gives up at the end, but Cole is still determined to make a mark for himself. He declares, "I will not let them diminish me now. I am the realm's greatest warrior, and I will die as such, clear-eyed, unbent, glorious in battle, and not in their service, finally, but in my own. And they will sing songs of it, and Queen Alicent herself will hear them." Gwaine finally realizes the truth. Cole's dark mood is a death wish. He has given up on survival, and the man is marching toward his own end. At Harrenhal, a brace of Team Black thugs show up looking for Aemond, but they are met by Alice Rivers, who acts like a docent on some Harrenhal midnight ghost tour and gets some bats to swarm around them. Not with witchy magic though, just by tossing a rock. Aemond awakens in the same weirwood bed at Harrenhal that Daemon spent so much time in. He's been laid up here since getting wounded, and Alice has been tending to him. He awakens from a nightmare about his brother Aegon, and promptly goes fetal in Alice's lap, recalling his sister Helena's prediction that he is going to die and whimpering for his mother. Later, when another group of Team Black ruffians shows up and attempts to assault Alice, a still loopy Aemond makes short work of them. At Rook's Rest, Aegon continues to grieve for Sunfire, but something has shifted. Larys finally confronts him with the truth of his character, his selfishness, his cruelty, his incompetence. Larys tells him bluntly, "You were a bad king. You were a terrible man." Aegon seems to absorb the criticism, to consider it. Larys ticks off all the ways Aegon squandered his own advantages, and a sullen, unresponsive, still crippled, and helpless usurper knows he is right. But then, a miracle. Tyland Lannister emerges, cloaked from the rabble. Admiral Lohar pushed him overboard at the Gullet, but he is back, still on Team Green, and this lord, once Aegon's master of coin, knows where he hid all the King's Landing cash. Later, when a man mocks him, Aegon stabs him repeatedly, screaming about how to address royalty. The old Aegon is not gone. He has just been waiting. In King's Landing, the cracks in Rhaenyra's rule are widening. The treasury is empty. The small folk are growing hostile, and graffiti calling her Queen of Bastards appears on tavern walls, prominently featuring the colored stripes on House Strong's coat of arms, a reference to the parentage of her sons. Daemon waves this away, dismissing it as stripes on tavern walls, and tries to get the queen to focus on a series of attacks on members of the City Watch. The the Gold Cloaks led by Luther Largent. Daemon undercuts Rhaenyra in front of the small council, saying, "I have pledged to fulfill your commands." Just later, Lady Subital Fry complains to Rhaenyra that they were promised Harrenhal in exchange for letting the Northman army use their castle, and grudgingly accepts a seat on the Queen's small council. We learn who is behind these attacks on the Gold Cloaks: Ormund Hightower. He is still hunkered down in Tumbleton, taking steps to hunker it even more. He has hired small folk to kill the City Watch, posing as ordinary citizens, and his goal is to turn the people against the Queen. We get a scene between Ormund and Daeron that establishes the extent to which Daeron has learned to walk on eggshells around it. Ormund admires the Yellow Toad, a leader of Dorne whose cleverness triumphed over her enemy's superior firepower. And when Daeron asks if her tactics made her a hero or villain, he knows immediately it was the wrong thing to say. He tenses as Ormund puts his hands on his shoulders, but Ormund is happy with the coins he had minted, which featured Daeron as king. The climax of the episode comes when Mysaria discovers the truth about the Moon Tea. Grand Maester Orwyle smuggled it into Alicent and Helena's room, though one of Mysaria's minions sees him do so. Helaena refuses to drink it, even as Alicent points out that if she were to have a son by Aegon, he would be a rival to Joffrey for the Iron Throne. Mysaria confronts Alicent, who pretends it is hers and drinks it. Later, she convinces Helaena to join her in escaping the Red Keep. They dress up and set out, but they do not make it 3 feet down the hall before they are caught by Mysaria. Mysaria learns that it is actually Helaena who is pregnant, and Alicent tries to convince her not to put all her dragon eggs in Rhaenyra's increasingly fragile basket. The episode ends with Daemon and Luther uncovering a small folk conspirator, and under torture, he reveals a Daeron Targaryen king coin. Daemon tosses the coin onto Rhaenyra's desk, saying they should have burned Daeron when they had the chance. Then, in the Gold Cloak chamber, Daemon calls out Luther, but there is no answer. The City Watch commander and his men have been murdered in a tableau of the Last Supper, with a feast for traitors scrawled in their blood. And that is episode 5, an episode where the throne room is no longer the battleground, because the real war is being fought in the shadows, in the hearts of the small folk, and in the faith of the realm. Alicent and Helaena are trapped in the dark. Criston Cole is marching toward his death, and Ormund Hightower is building a movement that cannot be defeated by dragons alone. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Alicent and Helaena will escape the tunnels? And don't forget, our next episode drops at 9 p.m., covering what comes next. See you there.